All right, welcome back to Just the Fit
Are
Tip.
you going to fade in again?
You want me to fade in
I
again?
love the fade in.
Okay,
Oh, wait,
one
wait.
sec.
Oh, hey guys.
I didn't see you there.
I'm really liking the new fade in that we got going on.
Welcome back to Just the Fit Tip, where we break down fitness myths. We give you tips and tricks to get everything that you can out of your fitness and training and trying to be the best you can be.
So let's give you the tip on this one.
Yeah. We are talking about, I'll bring that back up, that is actually...
Let's call it a misconception.
Not even a misconception. It's just a little bit of there's confusion around this topic.
yeah.
There's confusion. Is that you can't absorb more than 30 grams of protein at once in one meal.
You know what? Maybe you can.
Turns out you probably most likely can. So how did this sort of come to be, and why are most protein shakes 30 grams of protein, right? So basically, and this is well documented amongst a lot of literature, is that if you want to optimize your protein intake, especially for males, you're looking at 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Or if you're in Australia and you use real metrics instead of weird stuff that they use in the US, we're talking about 1 gram of protein, so 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body mass.
Yep.
Okay, none of that per pound stuff.
the
So
metric
2.2,
system
yeah,
is better.
it is better. 2.2 grams per kilo of body mass.
Yeah.
All right. So they figured out, all right, that's going to be the best to for anabolism, so like to be anabolic, to get protein synthesis, to repair muscle tissue. Then what they looked at is, all right, well, what is the most effective number of meals to have in a day?
Yeah.
Is it 1 giant meal with all your protein? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 6? Is it 10? Right? How many is it?
Yeah.
What they found was that it was more protein would be absorbed if you had 2 meals compared to 1, if you had 3 meals compared to 2, if you had 4 meals compared to 3. But after 4 meals, didn't seem to make that much of a difference. Cool. So 4 meals is a bit of a sweet spot. Now, if you're a bodybuilder, you want to have 5-6 meals a day. That's cool. You can split it up even more.
Or people would eat more or less meals for different reasons other than just protein. But if your goal is to improve on your protein absorption,
yeah,
4
meals looks like a bit of a sweet spot. And so basically, all you got to do there is you are, all right, if you're a 100 kilo person, right, that's 220 grams of protein per day. You divide it by 4. 55 grams per meal.
This is something that a lot of people get confused about as well. It's not 220 grams of protein. We don't say like, I'm going to eat a steak. There's protein in steak. There's not 220 grams of steak. It's actually much more than that. Each food has a certain amount of protein within it. So 220 grams of protein would be from a mixture of lots of different things, but that's protein total, not just the amount of, like, let's say, meat that you're going to have or other high density protein.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, this common misconception of, you can't absorb more than 30 grams of protein, that was done with some studies a long time ago. They looked at the nitrogen rates of when you had more than like 30 grams of protein in a whey, like a protein shake, which is like very, very fast absorbing. You would see that nitrogen like in the urine, like, you're just pissing it out after a certain amount, right? So that's how they sort of judge that.
Yep.
But if you take protein with food, so you have a steak with some potatoes and vegetables on the side, you are absorbing protein, you're absorbing fats, you're absorbing carbohydrates, and it extends the duration that it takes to absorb those nutrients.
It works kind of similarly to the GI scale, where you have high GI foods and then you have low GI foods with them, and it kind of like slows down the absorption of sugars. Same sort of thing. If you have it different foods altogether, you can change the profile of the meal. If you just have a very high protein food and then you start to add stuff, it completely changes the whole thing. So I don't think that like everything is very separately going into different compartments of your body and working in this system, and everything's on a scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on a sliding scale.
But yeah,
so 30 grams is just is an easy rule of thumb. Most people, you average out guys and girls, they're going to weigh around 60 kilos, right? Because there's not a bunch of 120, 30 kilo, Greek gods walking around. Most people weigh.
There's only one in this gym. Shout out to Big Gav. You thought I was you?
How
much do you weigh? You're skinny now.
So it's just an easy, if you average out, people weigh around 60 kilos, that's 33 grams per meal. Or if, let's say, people roughly, if you're a guy and, most guys, weigh around 80 kilos, but, they're doing it on 5 meals a day, that's 30 grams, right? So that 30, 40 grams is pretty standard. But look, simple rule of thumb for you. 2.2 grams per kilo of body mass. divided by however many meals you're having per day, but ideally 4+ meals.
And that's not to say that if you have 35 grams or 40 grams or 45 grams of protein in any one meal that your body's going to absorb a certain amount and then it's immediately going to switch off and shoot out of your ears because your body can't absorb it. It's just diminishing returns. So that's the most effective at that amount of grams of protein, right?
Correct.
So everything works on a scale, everything works on the sliding scale. It would probably be for some people 25 grams. For other people, it would be
40 grams.
40 grams.
Yeah.
It would be this sliding scale where you get the most effect at around the 30-gram mark, and then either side of that scale, the effectiveness starts to wear off, and you just get diminished returns.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's this is again is looking at the body's ability to have anabolism with proteins, protein synthesis, repairing muscle tissue, growing new muscle tissue,
Burning
everything like
fat,
that. If
burning
you
energy,
have, let's say you're 100 kilos and you should be having 55 grams, 4 meals a day, and you have 65 grams, well, you just have an extra 10 grams floating around for a bit of extra energy production. You might store a bit of extra energy afterwards.
Maybe you work out extra hard one day, you train twice a day or something like that, or you do an extra bit of extra physical work today. It's not just going to go to waste,
Correct.
And a lot of the time as well, when people do a lot of exercise, so let's say you're a long distance athlete and you run 4 hours at a time, your body can also break down proteins for energy sometimes as well, depending on what you're doing. So it's never wasted, I think.
I don't think it's very. I think
rarely that is wasted.
you'd have to have an incredible amount. But yeah, there is some confusion around. So hopefully that clears things up a little bit, gives you some guidelines to work from. Look, if you want to maximize your performance and the performance that the protein is going to give you, try not to have it in one meal. Try to have it in at least 4 meals, 4 to 5 meals, and just divide your total daily amount by those number of meals, and that would be roughly what you should have.
Those meals would come from would just be how you would spread your meals out across the day. So you'd probably find that your body can only, when they say you can only digest so much protein at one time, it probably just takes that long to digest that food. So then you top it up and you top it up. You've always got stores that your body's got readily available to then absorb. So you can play around with it a little bit. I wouldn't have 2 big meals right next to each other and then 2 big meals separated across the day. Try 3 meals. Try 5 meals. These are just the best guidelines that we found to be able to help.
Absolutely. All right.
So there's that tip.
We hope you enjoyed that Just the Fit tip, guys. And that's all we have for you today. But we'll be back soon, I'm sure.
We will be back soon, and we will give you just the tip once more.
Ooh, so many tips.
Just 2, I hope. But
The tips of fitness. Never ending. The never ending quest for knowledge.
So once again, guys, like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like button. It helps us out a lot. And yeah, stay tuned for the next episode of Just the Tip.
Yeah. Adios, people. See you later.
Is that cultural appropriation?
Cultural celebration.
Hey, there it is.
Cultural celebration.
I like it.